Back to Slow Mode with your host, Maurice Kennard, CEO of Slow Mode. Thank y'all for joining me. Make sure you subscribe. I can't stress that enough. We've been making a lot of moves lately. We recently released the slow-moed portal for you guys. So check that out. Leave a comment in the comment section what y'all thought about our most recent portal. But yeah, we've been in the lab creating Moorish portals for you guys using African mystical wisdom and knowledge and science. So, we just put in that work, we grinding, obviously. Today, the topic of this live stream is going to be the enemies of African-Moorish science. So, we're going to get into some things or obstacles, so to speak, that those that are on the mystical path to enlightenment using African-Moorish mysticism, knowledge, and science and history, some of the obstacles you guys will have to face. So we're just going to address some of that on this live stream. And we plan to address this in the future as well. As you know, our work is, in creating these African-Moorish portals using ancient African wisdom is challenging in itself. On top of that, you have these outside forces of Ishfet, or the lower desires of men, obstructing the way to enlightenment and African Moorish mysticism, knowledge, etc. So we're just going to get into that today. I thank y'all for joining me. I thank y'all for sticking with me with our channel as we grow. We came a long way from just being, not even uploading videos for a decade, really, and, starting creating these Moorish portals for you guys and expressing hip hop through animation, something that's never been done before in this human history, as far as media, I suppose, since media is fairly recent, according to Thomas Edison of the early 20th century. So yes, we're bringing something new to the table. We're using speculative masonry to create our Moorish portals, which are basically rooted in African science. So there are obstacles and people that have basically intentions to stop that knowledge from being harnessed by the ignorant or profane or public people. So if you guys follow my Twitter account at slow-moed 420, you'll see the various replies and conversations I've had with multiple people that opposes African Moorish history, knowledge, culture, wisdom, etc. Anything that has to do with Africa being the progenitor of sciences, mathematics, astronomy, agriculture, time, the alphabet, language, religion, etc. Music, anything that has to do with Africa being the progenitor of that. There will be people that oppose it to try and stop it. But unfortunately, they can't do it forever because that doesn't coincide with ma'at, or truth, which is what our brand is based upon. If you see on my shirt, I'm wearing our Wajet Buto merch, This is available on our official website and available on our slow-moed Etsy page. It's an affordable price and it's in different colors. So make sure you support our business by purchasing our fashion and our merchandise and reading our blogs and subscribing and interacting with our videos, etc. So to get into the enemies of African-Moorish science, let's bring up a couple of pictures for you guys. I didn't mean to do that. Dang. I'm gonna have to delete that later. The interaction on this is not as good. Unfortunately, I can't bring up the screenshots that I've taken earlier. I can't just go off the top of my head, but yeah. Is this it? I think this is it. Here we go. So, right here on our slow-moed Twitter at slow-moed420, we have right here this guy at Coop3Big. I'm not familiar with this guy, but he posts some African positive things. However, there's an alternative motive. If you can see his profile picture, he has a Confederate hat on. So there's an alternative motive. He posts things for the Africans or African Americans striving for African knowledge, or the blacks striving for African knowledge. And basically, he posted this reference of this unknown book or whatever this pamphlet is. He said, additional names of empires of the Moors, part 2. Additional names and empires of the Moors. I would like to take this space to ask some other names and empires attributed to Moors in order to help one in their studies to identify when they are reading about the Moors as follows. So you got the Almohads, Almoravids, Atlanteans, Aztecs, Carthaginians, Etruscans, Pezans, Moabites, Olmecs, Almans, Phoenicians, Pathans, Persians, British Empire, Moorish Empire, Spanish Empire, French Empire, Holy Roman Empire. So what I did, I basically replied, simply Africans, Homo sapiens sapien, originated in Africa, Alkebulan, those humans have African DNA. So all of these groups that Coop3Big has listed basically are Homo sapiens sapien. So having that understanding, Homo sapiens sapiens come from the continent of Africa. According to anthropology, biology, the out of Africa Eve and the mitochondrial Eve. There's basically there's multiple studies regarding that, but people like this and other Twitter accounts, these are the enemies of African-Moorish science. So let me explain. So basically, this guy doesn't want to connect Moorish history with Africans, even though when the Greeks first encountered the Africans in North Africa, or even reference to the dark-skinned people, they were called mauros or moors, according to Greek language. This is before English. So when the Romans went to Africa, the first Africans that they met were called mauri. So basically, they were dark-skinned people, according to the Mauri, etc. But these are still Africans, and it's still not understood by many that Africa is the originator of humanity, Homo sapiens sapiens. So anything regarding African history would be denied by these people. And I basically, I suppose a lot of his followers didn't like what I had to say, so they decided to try and bombard me with comments to try and throw me off my game. However, with the use of at Grok, they were very unsuccessful, and I provide evidence for every reply. So these are the type of tactics that the enemies of African-Moorish science will try to and implement. Basically, they discredit, insult, ridicule, and etc. They troll, etc. They send misinformation, and they do it with impunity. So I've gotten replies saying that. Give me one moment. I got a reply saying that Africa wasn't named Kibulan. So with this book, The Journey of the Songhai People by Dr. Calvin Robertson, Redmond Battles, and Dr. Edward W. Robinson Jr. And these are both the Robinsons are uh, legum doctors and juris doctors. So I'm quoting them from their book. So I don't know which, I think it's on page 15. We have we PAFO, Pan African Federalization Organization, say that this does not seem quite normal, even though we know that we are the most spiritual people in the world. The spiritual name of Africa is called Alkebulan, which means the land of the spirit people. So I've been up against various people that are against African-Moorish science, saying that, you know, Africa was never called Alkebulan, basically challenging me, like, where did Africa get its name from? Basically trying to discredit anything of African Moorish contribution to society, even going back as far as the alphabet and language. So it's quite, these are the enemies that, um, especially the people calling themselves black, will face. And basically, they study African history and they know African history more than the blacks. So they have an advantage and an edge over the blacks. And not to mention, majority of these people that are against African Moorish science, they tend to be in secret societies. Though I didn't take it to that level because I could easily end the arguments or debates by basically signaling out who was in the secret orders, which is pretty evident once you start to question them about their rituals and things of that nature. But yes, nonetheless, we're creating Moorish portals using African knowledge. These people will continuously try to debate you. I can't. That's not even showing the full picture. That's too big. That's a bigger picture of the snippet that I did. Okay, I think this is page 122 of the Journey of the Songhai People, and basically you have here Mauritania is where blackamoors originated. So well, we all don't know this, but many people don't seem to know this. Um, so basically, the African Moors, not Muslim, not Arab, not Islam. the African Moors, specifically of Morocco and Mauritania, they have to fight and contend and vie with the Arabs, Berbers, and contemporary times currently, connotatively, as far as language goes, as far as English goes. They have to contend and compete with the Arabs to be considered Moors when they are already Moors. They're Africans and they're Moors. They're both. They're dark-skinned, swarthy, and they're Africans. So, African Moors. This is seen in Dr. John L. Johnson's book, the Negro Rulers of Scotland and the British Isles. I don't think I have a reference that I can go to. I think this is the page, but you can barely see it. Yeah, so this isn't a page, but it's of this book right here, Negro Rulers of Scotland and the British Isles. Yes, so it's a quite funny, humorous task that the blacks have to face in order to combat these people that basically see Africa as inferior when Africa is responsible for civilization as we know it. So yeah, it's quite humorous. Need you guys to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers. We're working hard every day. We're creating Moorish portals using African science. It's not an easy task, but we have fun doing it, and we have fun rewriting history or working with the wings of time. That may sound far-fetched, but it's the truth nonetheless. It may fly over a lot of people's heads, but it's still the truth. Yeah, we're basically doing something that's never been done in human history, and we're shining more light on African-Moorish history, especially for the blacks that don't understand their African-Moorish consanguinity or ancestry and their connection to the Songhai Empire and the Kemetic Empire. They disassociate from the African continent due to social engineering and propaganda and brainwashing by the European colonists and various secret societies. So the blacks and the rest of the society are brainwashed, so to speak, as Dr. Edward W. Robinson would say, brainwashed of their Africanness and their African history. So it's a quite unfortunate event in the year 2025, as many people do not have this information. Those that do have this information are in various secret societies or part of various orders, and they're unable to speak on it within the public setting, which is what we're doing and what we're espousing through our various clothing. As you can see, our Moorish African attire. This goes back all the way to the caduceus of Jehuti, the serpent going up the spine. This is ancient African knowledge, and it's not hidden. It's somehow I guess convoluted and distorted of its meanings, scattered like Osiris or Wasir, Asir, Osiris, ASAR, scattered, and the knowledge of it is scattered into pieces, scattered all over the planet or Kemet, and it's up to wisdom or Isis, a set, to find and recover the pieces of Osiris so that he can judge. He can sit on the throne and be the judge of the underworld. which is the unseen reality. This is basically this isn't Satanism. This isn't uh, devil talk. This isn't paganism, etc. This is the science of the universe using observation, record keeping, records of the past. This is in the stone temples. This is in papyri, papyrus preserved for thousands of years. So it's quite unfortunate the events um, that the blacks in current times have to go through. So I say this to say from the papyrus of Ani, uh, vanquish my enemies, defeat my enemies, and offer cakes to the righteous, the Ma'at, the Netaru. So it's all African knowledge. We're creating portals, and let us know in the comment section what Moorish portals y'all want to see in the future. We're probably going to do this live a little early. Nobody's showing up, and basically I'm tired, so nobody's showing up. So we're probably going to end at like 25, 30 minutes. But basically we want to address some of the enemies or obstacles against African-Moorish science. So y'all basically got the gist. I've repeated in multiple of the lives, and I plan to, repeat in the upcoming documentaries. We're almost to 900 subscribers, so basically we plan to do another documentary, hopefully. But we need y'all to subscribe, share our videos. I can't stress that enough. Like our videos. But yes, we need subscriptions. We need y'all to subscribe, help us get to our intermediate goals, because we are right there to start creating more content for you guys on a more consistent basis. But yeah, it's a work in progress, and it took time, but we got here, and we couldn't have done without you guys. Thank you, G's, for doing what you do, watching our videos, watching our portals, giving your feedback. All your feedback is very valuable, whether it be positive or negative. We accept both areas of feedback. We're a non-judgmental zone, so anything is welcome as long as it's respectful. Uh, you know, just basically subscribe. Get your associates to subscribe. Work out to our videos. Read to our videos. We have multiple uses for our slow-moed Moorish portals. Buy our merchandise. Support our brand. We're a small business, but we have a large legacy in store. Very large legacy that will continue as long as the clock exists. So contribute to us, subscribe, and yeah, we're gonna create some awesome content, some never before seen content before in this human existence. So we hope y'all stay tuned and continue to subscribe. And I will catch y'all next week, Wednesday at 8 o'clock. That's going to be our standard time for right now, for the time being, until I update you guys. So next week at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for listening, and we are out. Back to these portals.